Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending of where you are. Hi Phantom 1968 from Germany. Well, we have the same time zone. Okay, then this is a new part about to be from NieR Automata, which is still based on the artwork from Team Lochner. Then you have it on screen right now. We are close to the end now. Still, of course, a lot of refinement. I can spend month and month on the model. Today will be mainly just fine-tuning a lot of small things. And before the next time, which will be all the 3D printing preparation. In fact, I really need to move forward on this project because, like I explained in previous stream, I have a trade show in Japan at the end of this month, July the 30th. Where I will be presenting a lot of things, of course ZBrush, and then I will use this work for my presentation. Then I need to finish it, I need to prepare for printing, I need to print, I need to clean everything, etc, etc. Then because I want to show you as much as possible, I need to finish that as quickly as possible. Then I will today doing some fine-tuning here and there, mainly on the clothes of to be. As you may notice if you already watched previous stream, that I did some details, I refined some part like the knees and where I wasn't really happy, but I still need to refine some part for the clothes. I moved some items. You see the back need to be refined as well, like this shoulder and all this part. I need to perhaps I will refine a little bit the pose at the end. I'm not sure yet, but I will see where I put everything in the same scene. Well, you didn't miss everything because I didn't record all this small fine-tuning because it was again the same thing. For the hairs, which now are done, I explained, I think, 2 or 3 videos, I mean, streaming ago, the first step, then I just repeat everything. For this part, I just did some quick folds and quick deformations, which perhaps will be too much. I'm afraid will be too much. I don't know yet. Perhaps I will refine that. Then I refine, of course, the legs, which has been mainly to move up the bottom part of the leg and doing some folds here and there. And I also work on finishing the broom. If you remember this broom here, which is composed of multiple parts, I put some small details, and to be honest, this kind of details, even if it's a big print, it may not be really visible at the first look, but for the painting process, because it's some cavities, and I may darken some cavities with some black color or darker color, just this small difference maybe, and I hope, will be visible. I try to make everything not sorry, how can I say that, not crossing each other's, except some part inside, always because I need to think about the 3D printing. I think I removed the cube. Let me just bring back the cube just to show you the cross section. Let me insert then the cube 3D. Let's scale it like that, and with the live Boolean it will be just a negative cube. Live Boolean on. Let me just move that down, and you see now this is a cross section of everything. I put a small cylinder inside to close everything, and I just tried as much as possible. You see some parts which are just crossing each other, but inside it won't be visible. For me, the main issue was outside, to avoid having the visible parts to cross each other. And I try to connect as much as possible to make the 3D printing process as much painless as possible, mainly removing the need of the supports. And if I have the time today, I will start to split some part, mainly just showing you the process about how I will split the broom in two parts, the top part here and then this bottom part, and creating the key inside to do the connection. And you see I did some just scratch, let's say, on the wood on the model. And I also did some modifications on the pod. Let me bring the pod, oops, that's okay, like this. Then for the pod, in fact, I didn't really do a lot of things since the last time. I just bring back the buckets. I did some, I put a little bit of noise and scratch to make it less 3D. I just edited a little bit the water. I'm not very happy with the water, but well, as soon as it will be 3D printed, it won't be so much visible. The thing which is not really that, I did some modification. Let me just remove the live Boolean. I started to split very quickly some parts like this one and this one, just to make all these parts being able to articulate them. And again, like I said the last time, it's not to do some articulated character, but more to set up quickly the pose as soon as it will be 3D printed. And if I don't have the time, I will just do the pose as is. Okay. Then all these parts are mainly close to be done. I will just bring everything back to the main scene with the character, just to set the pose and everything, just to see if it's a good size, and of course doing the pose for the hands, same for that one, and perhaps changing the pose. And feel free to ask me your question again as usual. I will do my best to answer. Just a quick comment. As you can notice, I'm with ZBrush 4R8 P1. We released a few days ago, Wednesday if I remember, a new update of ZBrush P1, which is fixing, improving things and fixing some bugs and issues. But even before, perhaps you imported some brushes that you download on the internet, or you purchase from artists, or you did yourself, and you may notice this question mark here, because all the brushes now in ZBrush, you know, we have this Alpha 3D, the VDMs, and you have these tags, as well as IMM brushes. And in fact, these brushes are an unknown for ZBrush. ZBrush need to rewrite this brush to the new formats. That's why we have this question mark. Then if you want to get right at that and then updating your brushes for 4R8, just need to go in the brush palette, and just at the end you have reset all brushes. And by doing that, it will reset their brushes to their default state, then settings which has been saved, and also make them really compatible with ZBrush 4R8. And you see now, I don't have any more of these question marks. Okay, it was just a quick tip. Okay. What I will do to start with, let me just remove my polyframe. I will remove my reference for now. I don't need it. What I will do is I will bring again the broom and the pod, just to start just to mix everything. Then for the broom, where are you, the broom? Okay, here. Let me just remove this cube, which is now useless. Delete. Oh, one thing also. I don't know if you noticed, but I never click on this always okay. I know that sometimes it's easy to click on this always okay and not clicking each time on this button, but as you know, it's not an undoable operation like it's written. And okay, multiple times I pressed too quickly on the delete button and then deleted by mistake some model which hasn't been saved. That's why please be very careful with that. Okay, and for now what I will do, I will just do a merge visible, which is creating for me this new model like that. Okay, I can keep my original model if I need to do some refinements. And now this is a new subtool. Let me rename that to just broom. I don't need to keep. Oh no, I will keep the 17 like that. I know this is the 17th saved. Okay. Copy, and I will go back in my scene, not my pod, but my character. And as you can notice, I have some scale issue between both models. Let me just go back in the list, and now I will paste it. Okay, you see it, this is quite large. Then I can change the scale. Okay, like that, and it's close to be that size, in fact. Let me look at the references, let me bring it back. You see, yeah, we are close to be to this size. Okay, that way, a bit some angles. I need to take care, of course, of the point of view, which gives the angle. In fact, it was a bit too much, I guess. And something, of course, which I need to take in consideration is I will print all this part together. Then I will need to print the top part, the part which will be between the hand. In fact, I will do a kind of hole for the hand where the broom will just go in and then go out in between. Like that I can print multiple parts and not just a big let's say stick for the broom, which may be too big to print or maybe just problematic because of the support or these kind of things. Okay, and I will use it as a reference also to set my pose. Okay, now for the pod I will do the same. Let me go back to the pod. The pod should be at the good location and scale, if I remember. One thing, sorry, if you remember this printed pod that I have here, this one, I did already some pose for the pod when I did this test print, and this one not anymore. Like I said the last time, I just aligned everything just for these articulations. Then it won't fit exactly the design for now. This design will be updated, of course, after the 3D print, when I will just assemble everything together. Okay, then same thing, let's do my, what I will do, I will just remove some subdivision levels because I don't need to have everything. I just want to keep, like I said, some references. Okay, like that. Then everything should be okay, close to be okay. Because I don't need to have so many polygons, just as a merge. Okay, you see now, it should be, I still have 7 millions. What? Let me go up 1,000. Which one? Okay. Should be way better now. Which one is so big? Don't forget your up and down keys. Which one is it? Ah, that one. Okay. Okay, and now I have everything, and again I will do this merge visible, which is the pod, rename pod, and where are you? And I can append my pod 15, which is at the good size but not the good location, which is not an issue. Okay. Then you see, that's why I need to take care about the pose and all these kind of things, because right now, as it is, she almost has the bucket in her head. Okay. And what is, of course, the arm from the pod will be rotated on the side like that. Then the bucket will be a little bit not on this position, but it's slightly rotated like that. And it should be even like that. Okay. And also for the head of 2B, I need to just do an edit, because you see it's more tilted on the side, more like that. Sorry, I was trying to do it with my head. I need to do just to refine everything. And again, like I said, I'm not trying to stick exactly to the original design, but if you can be a little bit closer. And what bugs me is the difference of scale between the arm, which is a bit, mine seems to be too small, while it shouldn't be. Anyway, okay. Then now with that, I can just set the pose, finish the pose for the hand, both hands, sorry. Then if I put, I was in perspective already. You see, we start to have the full scene. One thing also I will try to find is, I don't know if you remember, but I talk about this issue about how I will just make this model flying in the real world, in real life. I'm trying to look about some rods in glass, or perhaps in metal. I don't know what, but something that I'm not sure yet. I don't want to plug a rod in our butts, which would be not a good idea, but perhaps in one of the leg, just below, like that. But I need to find a way to reinforce the leg. And for this reason, this leg, for sure, if I'm doing that, I won't hollow the leg. I will be sure that the leg will be just full of resin. I need to be very careful of that to find the good gravity and points to avoid too much stress on this part. And of course, it will work only if I'm hollowing almost everything, just to be sure that the model is as light as possible, to remove the white on the character. To be honest, I don't know yet exactly how I will deal with that. Let me check one thing. Preferences, quick save, skip history. Okay. Yeah, a lot of stuff I need to fix and refine. It's not very easy to find the solution. Anyway. Hi, Wilbur Pearson, Seagull Crush. Okay, then let's deal with the pose for now. What I will do, I will hide quite some parts, like let me hide everything except the character, this one, and my broom. Where are you, the broom? Okay. Just a quick tip. Don't forget that in 4R8 the behavior of the eyes changed. Before, if you wanted to hide and unhide everything, you had to just click once on the active subtool and clicking on the eye, which was just inverting, displaying all the subtools or hiding all the subtools when doing that. Now, if you want to do the same thing in 4R8, you need to press the Shift key. Okay. Then we still have the same function, but so many people, artists, myself first, been clicking just by mistakes and just hiding and hiding everything, which was really annoying. Okay, then for that, whoops, let me go back to my lowest level of subdivision and not using anymore my mouse. Then I will just slightly bend, just draw something like that, my arm. Let me pick my mask lasso. Okay, and I can, using the gizmo, and that's why it's so much easier to use the gizmo now. Perhaps I will rotate slightly the fingers to be sure that I'm really around the finger. I mean, when I mean around, just trying to really rotate around the road. And of course, I need to refine the arm as well. It's still not enough for me. Picking my move brush. Where are you, move brush? Ah, I need to refine my my custom UI because I lost my move brush by default. My default move brush. Where are you, move? Here. Okay. Okay, let me just store my configuration, preferences, configs. Yeah. Store config. Okay, done. Just also another thing is, as you can see, my arm is, well, not that nice, but don't forget you have the gloves on top of the arm, so that's why I don't really take care of that. You see my shoulder, which is really weird. I have some angles, of course, issues in between, but it's really not visible at all. Then I don't really care about that because in fact it will be just removed for the 3D print process. Okay, then for that you can use, if you want, still the old transpose and using your topological masking if you wish, or of course still mask as before, like that. Then I can rotate. In fact, no, let me just, because I need to really bend down my model, my brush, my mask pen. Can move. Okay, I'm very annoyed with all of that. Let me just hide everything. Same for that. Okay, let's focus on what is important. I need to bend as well. You see, my concern is, okay, I don't have enough polygons so far for what I wanted to do. Don't forget about that you may need to have to increase the number of polygons on your model. Mask lasso. To be honest, I don't really like doing hands poses. which is not always so easy to do. This is where I still enjoy using transpose for this kind of things. Of course, I can use the gizmo as well, but just to redraw like that, I really like transpose for that. Okay, now let's move all of them together. And anyway, I will need to work finger by finger because, yeah, it's too much. In fact, I think I will do it finger by finger, yeah. Yes, because I need to rotate them slightly. Yeah, sometimes transpose masking is not convenient, as you can notice. Okay, first phalange. I don't know how to say that in English. Because you need to really doing. I don't have something which is wide enough, but yeah, I have quite some angle. More than that. Okay, like this. Of course, I will fix all of that because it's not really nice. That's the problem with giving too much. Yeah, let's use the lasso like before. How tall will the printed piece will be? Well, it's easy to say. In fact, let me just remind the question when I'm done with this hand. Roughly, I can use transpose and multiply, and you will have the information because I did that at the good scale. Okay, and now. Need to bend that. And I know that in fact the inside part I don't really take care, mainly for the other fingers, because it won't be visible. Again, this is something that I really insist is you have always a big difference between some models for 3D printing and models for, let's say, video games or whatever. It's really not the same usage and same restrictions. See, if I'm trying to smooth everything, which is kind of not nice at all. I will fix that anyway later. Whoops, I have some bending on this area. In fact, I want to have something which would be just filled, filling everything to interact with the topology. I will try to close the thumb as well. Of course, I will sculpt everything because right now it doesn't look so nice, and this part should be in fact lower compared to the thumb. Okay, let's do the other fingers. Okay, for that one, should be okay. Yeah, I'm working with not enough polygons like I did before, which is a mistake. I need to move this rod. Yeah, you see it's not close enough together. Sorry, I'm not really talking. I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing right now. Okay, let's do like before. Salut Boulevey. Yeah, Mother Kainer, hi. Yeah, I know, only hand poses. Yeah, I know. That's the problem for me, in fact, is to know what I will do in stream. Because I know doing some just pure sculpting stuff, like doing, in fact, when I was working just on just building the body of 2B, I think it was way more interesting. It's more, let's say, visually more appealing. It's more sexy to watch this kind of stuff. I think it's way more interesting. But again, I'm trying to do stuff that could be interesting for people to discover, and doing perhaps, I hope, something which is slightly different. Yeah, it's, I think my hand should be more. Sorry, I'm talking and watching the same, looking at the thing I'm doing right now, and of course it can't work because my angle is not that good. Okay, I will finish with these fingers and trying to refine everything. Anyway, then yeah, I'm trying really to find stuff which could be interesting, which could help you learning new stuff. But some part like that, I need to do it anyway. You need also to see where perhaps I'm struggling, because I'm kind of struggling at this step right now, to see what is difficult, or to understand better why you also are struggling by this kind of things. Maybe helpful to understand, okay, if Thomas has issues, then I guess it's expected that other people may have issues as well, and I'm far to be the best ZBrush artist in the world. But technically speaking, I know quite some stuff about ZBrush, to be honest. If you're looking about for R8 documentation, if you, how can I say that? If you like reading documentation, okay, this is something that I'm writing myself. Then that's why I learn a lot of stuff about ZBrush on my own. But it's not because you know the functions one by one, what a button is doing, that you can say you master a software. You see, like doing this kind of mistakes. Why I inverted my mask. And what I'm trying to say with my poor English is that by watching mistakes from the others, even if they know the software, they know the techniques, it's a good way to understand better why sometimes you are failing, or why you have issues and things like that. And also, what is, at least for me, very important is when I am doing mistakes, I'm trying to understand, okay, what I can do next to avoid these mistakes the next time. Learning by your own mistakes. And you can't imagine how many mistakes I'm doing. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to connect everything to the surfaces. I may leave the finger like that. But one of the sentences I enjoy telling to my students or people that I'm training is, especially for people who already know the 3D software like Maya, Maxmodo, Cinema 4D, whatever, or Rhino. Yes, more important, people who are using Rhino, all these CAD software, SolidWorks, CATIA. and who want to learn ZBrush. And the first thing I'm trying to make them understand is what Yoda was saying is unlearn what you've learned, if I remember the English version of of what Yoda was saying to Luke. And for ZBrush, I think it's very, very important because there is so many different behaviors, the way it's working, the way you are combining all the functions together. I think it makes a lot of sense, at least for me. Rotate, it will be easier. Okay, now I need to improve that hand because you see my fourth finger is bigger than my second one, which shouldn't be like that. Yes, for the finger, definitely. Okay, let me just answer your question about the size of the character. Oops, I don't need that one. Then, and the broom. Okay, like that. Then for the size, if I'm using transpose, it will be 35 centimeters. Then I don't know inches. Let me pick. It will be 13 inches, almost 14 inches in terms of size. Then yeah, it will be kinda big. You see what I have right here, this is 30 centimeters. Then it will be something that size. And as I remember, as I told you, sorry, this one is already at the good scale. Then compared to my hand, you see it will be pretty big. Okay, let's print big stuff. Okay, let me just go back to my hand and trying to fix, because right now it's really ugly, really ugly. Oops. And let me bring back the broom. Let me just put more stuff for the arm and okay. Then let's try to fix all of that. I need also to tell you that I don't really care about the topology, and you may know that for 3D we need to consider that the topology is very important for the sculpting process, the printing process. You need to avoid coplanar faces and all this kind of stuff, and it's not really a problem in fact, because I need to rotate the broom and not the hand. Let me just, sorry, because I will probably do a kind of big Dynamesh for these parts before doing the 3D printing, or perhaps doing a Dynamesh and then doing a ZRemesher at the end to have a better topology, but I don't care for now, and I will fix that with, like I said, the Dynamesh. Let me just bring the broom back and rotate it. And I think I need to change this hand. It's too far. I mean, I just twist that not on the good location. It needs to be like that, but I think it should be more like that. Let me rotate again. Oops. I need to be very careful on that as well, because of the scale of the print. Right now, in fact, this is too far. It should be more like that, and then I should more rotate everything. Who did I learn the anatomy? I'm thought to be very good in anatomy. In fact, that's something where I really need to improve and fix a lot of my knowledge. I'm not that good. Just about learning. Let me just. I'm sorry, this is a big mess in my office right now. Where can I plug? So I'm trying to unplug. Okay. I don't know if you can see, but you see I have the anatomy statues from Anatomy Tools. I have also the small écorchés from 3D Total, which are very helpful. I mean, it's, how can I say that? It won't help for everything. It's good when you are trying to refine some shapes or understanding the visible part, but if you want to be good with the anatomy, and this is where I need to really learn and improve, because when I see this hand, it's, my god, I need to change everything. You need to understand how is it working, because you can do a nice face if you don't understand that behind you have the bone structure, you have the muscle on top, you have the grease, you have the skin, you have the whites. all these kind of things, then that's a mistake to try, let's say, to do your first face with just looking at on the visual result. Okay, I have a reference and trying to do the same thing. You can't have the good, let's say, volume and depth and shape by itself if you don't understand what you have behind. And then on top of that, let me look. Yeah, you need to have, of course, books, like one of the best one, which is Anatomy for Sculptors. It was a Kickstarter. I don't know, I think now it's more easier to find. I mean, I paid, it's $95 for the price, which is just written on the back. I think I paid less when I did the Kickstarter, but I mean, this book is just awesome. This is what you need to have to learn the anatomy. It's very visual. It doesn't go too much in technical terms. Of course, this is way better if you know all the name of the bones and muscles, and I really sucks in that. But it's very useful. Another one, which is this is a French version, which is the Anatomy, which is Anatomy for the Artist, which is a great book with a lot of photos. And let me just find some. The photos are very nice. You see, here you have a face and you have the bone structure, but it's working as a layer. Sorry, it's not very easy for me, but you see you have, I don't know say that the name in English, but you can see cover and see the result. And you have multiple ones like that. And this is a great way to learn by trying really to understand how it's done. And of course, I did a little bit. I didn't do the fine art, but I did multiple training at night at the fine art in Normandy when I was younger, which has been helpful. I did some sculpture on stone, wood, and clay a little bit later. But well, there is no secret. You need really to learn, to understand how it's done, the structure, and practice. And unfortunately, I don't practice enough. I'm really lacking of time to practice. And I don't say that my techniques are also the tool that I can use. Oh, sorry, let me just go back with just that. Oh, one thing as well that I want to explain about learning and practicing. One of the common mistakes that people are doing is when they are trying to sculpt at the beginning, say, oh, this is so ugly what I'm doing. I just stop and I'm done. And you know, for a lot of, at least for me, and I know that I saw that by watching other artists on streams, and it's very easy to do crap stuff at the beginning because you may not be the best artist to just to draw, to sculpt with the good results since the beginning. But you have artists like me who are doing shapes, and after refining, and at the end it becomes better and better. Then I know that when I'm doing some crap on my screen, of course not by experience, I know if I can do better or if it's really doomed. And I have no way to refine that. But even you see this hand, I'm not happy with that right now. But I know that after some sculpting, some refinement, it will look nice enough. And when I mean enough for my needs, then it's the same if you are sculpting a face or whatever, and you say, oh, the proportion looks off. Okay, sorry, it's fine. Just go back in lowest level of subdivisions, change the shape, try, experiment, and again, try to understand where is your mistake and what you need to do to fix this mistake to make your result looks better. And like I said again, I saw some artists on ZBrushLIVE who are professional, working in studios and doing models at the beginning which were not that nice, not nice at all. But after some minutes of sculpting and refinement, it was so nice, so great. Then don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid about doing stuff which is not that nice, and okay, you have the time to refine. At least this is my way of thinking. And also, I know when I'm not doing nice stuff, I'm always trying to do a break, doing something different, sometime just after a night, and trying to see, okay, where I was wrong. And you will see that your mistake will just pop up. You will see them, okay, this is here, and this is where it's wrong, or okay, where it's not nice. An example, that's something I need still to fix for to be. Of course, my face is not exactly the same, but I don't like the lips I did. It looks too much as a duck lips, really pinch like that. I know that, I know this mistake, I know I will fix it until the end, but because of that, now each time I see my character, I just see only that. And now that you know that, you will, if you didn't notice, you will see, ah, okay, he's right, lips are too much pinched and not as a nice shape. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm talking a lot as usual. Thank you, Red Crown. Yeah, and yes, I'm French. I think my accent speaks by itself. Yeah, I'm France. I'm in Bordeaux right now, city of wine. And also, just for the stream, I may not spend all my time in this hand because of the time it will take. I don't want to spend 1 hour to do a pose of these hands. I'm just trying to do the global pose, and after I will try to make that nicer offline. See, now without the suggestion levels, I can smooth. And anyway, you can always take your brush and say, okay, I want to sculpt. I need to do, of course, the nails, because it will be visible for sure because of the scale. Using some brushes. Yeah, I need to work on the thumb, which is too big. But again, don't forget that you need to see your hand at a distance to fit the scale. You see, for this kind of stuff, it's always better to work with the move topological brush, and that you can really work on each part one by one. And you understand now why it's important to work always with your subdivision levels, because you can go up and down at any time. Okay, I will stop for this hand for now. It needs some love, but again, I don't want to spend 1 hour to fix a hand, because it can be easy to spend 1 or 2 hours on a hand. I will do the other one, which is on top here. Let me bring back my pod, like that. Whoops, I think I forgot a mask on this area. For the pod, let me just hide just all these parts which are useless for me. Small polygroups which I forgot. Okay, let's keep that as is. Okay. Then this one, it will be more easier. Just need to rotate a little bit the hand to be just aligned. Like this. Yeah, Terry, it's for me the thumb is pointing the wrong way, because when I'm taking that one, in fact, it's just rotating more inside or outside. I don't remember exactly, but I need to work on that. Yeah, I know that's a basic topology. I mean, having a perfect low polygon model ready to be done is always better, but again, it really depends on what you want to do, and sometimes for this kind of things, okay, it's enough. And if you're looking about the topology, it's kind of clean enough. Okay, perhaps in between for the fingers, but this is for sculpting then, and for putting, and especially this hand, now the right hand one, to be inside of the model, it won't be really visible at all. And I won't spend so much time on this one. The other one is way more visible, then it's really important. Okay, now I will rotate that with transpose. I saw so many people saying, okay, with now for R8 and the gizmo, I won't use transpose anymore. But you see, for this kind of posing stuff like that, well, I still prefer transpose. Trying to align. Like that, and I will just rotate the fingers one by one to make them being close together from each other's. Well, let me just doing the rotation at the same time. It will be way more easier for that. It's not very nice, to be honest, but it will be inside and, well, not visible at all. Me, I will see it, I will know that, but most people won't be aware of that. And this is not the part that I will trying to explain or showcase to people. I need to spend more time to build my own hands. I already did, of course, multiple times some hands, but I need to do some IMM brushes for that. It's always useful not to redo each times your hands. Oh, by the way, I've been able to finally the game, at least the first one, first time. I know that there is multiple ending, but well, it's really a very good game. This NieR Automata. I'm very happy to spend my money in this game. Ah, shit. I need to resculpt my hand anyway. Okay, and I mean, I hope there be more games like this one. I would like to play the first NieR, but unfortunately, I think it's still on PS3. I think I need to find it just to try it. I'm playing way more on Windows. I mean, on computer. On PC than on PlayStation or Xbox, because I can quickly play just between two meetings or stuff like that. And now let's bend that. Woo. it's kind of ugly. Why my IK RGB? Ah, save. Okay, while it's saving, yeah, you have, in fact, in transpose, you have a lot of hidden features where you can pinch, you can duplicate. Most of them, in fact, are in the gizmo, the same hotkeys. But for me, it's not really the function you have inside, but more how much it's convenient to use one or the other. It's more that way, which is for me very important. Okay, then now I need to move it. See, it will be something like that. And let me unhide everything. Except that I can remove it, by the way. Delete. Okay. You see, we start to move forward on the project, which is a good thing. Let me save that. Save, where are you? Come on. Uh-oh, I don't like that. I don't like that because it's displaying me a name of brush, which is weird. Anyway, okay. Let me just drink some water. Okay, then now I will, let's say for the pose at this stage, it's almost done. Again, I need to rework on the hands, which are not nice at all, and it's really visible even at this distance. You see the fingers, it's really not nice, but at least I did the beginning. Same for that one. You see, I need to, the wrist is kind of strange. Now we'll just start to sculpt on this part just to refine everything. My goal again is to be almost done. Okay, you see the duck face. I think I have really the feeling of, which is not that visible, but depending on the point of view, give me again this kind of pinching face, which I don't really like. Anyway, okay, then I will start to refine all of that. There's something I wasn't happy when I was looking at that. This is this angle, which is straight, yeah, too much. Then I'll use my move brush. Now this is all this kind of stuff which will be little bit, let's say, important, because it will give really the end feeling, the final feeling, let's say, of the model. Okay. Then let me just hide the broom and the pod, which are useless for now. Okay, and I will use my Sakaki Karu cloth brush. And as you noticed, I'm not working anymore with the symmetry for this kind of things. And I don't try to be hyper realistic in terms of clothes and fold. Yeah, I could use Marvelous Designer. Okay, please. Ah. Issue of the stream. Yeah, sorry. I sorry. It seems that the stream has been lost. To be honest, I don't have any kind of drops in terms of frames, and my connection is still alive, and I guess it was on Twitch side, and I'm sorry. You did not miss a lot. My Sakaki. You see, I need to refine all these kind of things so far. For these accessories, I need to be very careful in terms of resolution. Let me bring the transparency because it needs to start from behind. Oops. And don't forget about the scale. That's why it's important to go back. It's It's too much a kind of wave style so far. I'm not very happy. Too much. And something I explained again in the past, that because this is for 3D printing and some small details are kind of erased or smoothed by the 3D printing process, sorry. Also because you may have some support you need to send, it's important to give some details more contrast. Then if you can say, okay, it looks way too much like that, don't forget that it may be, of course, less visible, and when printing to this side with some painting and everything on top of that, it won't be so visible so far. I think I will do kind of what I still need to think about what I will do in the back. And that's why I'm using sometimes the down standard brush, which is thinner, to do all this, let's say, more small details, or giving more depth and contrast to the folds. But also doing this kind of, oh, I don't know if you noticed, but I have this kind of Z stuff like that. See, I'm doing a small stroke, another one, or let me just undo. Small, you see, like that. Don't forget, this is a new feature we have in ZBrush for R7, for R8, sorry. When you're doing a stroke and you go close to this stroke, you have a continuity between two strokes, like that. And then if your strokes are close to each other's, I'm trying to do it, but it's trying to continue this stroke, and that's why you need to go in stroke, lazy mouse, and the lazy snap, put it to 0, and like that you won't have any more of this kind of continuity between your stroke, which is really convenient. I really love this feature, but when you're doing a lot of small, let's say I want to do some small dots like that, then you'll have a lot of continuity between your small dots that you are doing. That's why it's important to remove it, of course, depending on the brush that you are using. Let me switch to solo mode. And you see this kind of things, you can say, okay, why doing that? It's not that useful. I agree that it may not be the most useful stuff to do, but now I know by experience that all these Japanese figurines, when you look at some of them, you have a lot of really small details which are doing the difference. And that's why I'm trying to spend a bit of time on that. And you see, for all these wrinkles, folds and stuff like that, I will do at the end a clay polish, and I will do that for almost all my parts, because I did it for almost everything then. And this clay polish will sharpen the edges and polish some part. If I'm doing it at this stage, what I will have, let me just look at that. Need to make the transition nicer. Okay, then yeah, I need to work on the back as well. Then what I say for the clay polish, I need to bring back my hotkeys. Geometry, clay polish, and just by default, let me just go back. Without, let me just doing a snapshot. Let me remove my reference. Okay, just remove, sorry, you don't really see here, but this is without, and you see that it's kind of soft, and with the clay polish, you see the edges are a little bit sharper. It's very soft, it's more sharper on this area. The problem is sometimes it's too sharp. It's okay, it was just a refresh. You see, it's really soft, it's really sharp, and for some folds, and you see on the background, it's more visible on the background, it may be too much. Then the trick is simply just to revert, and let me just remove my snapshot. Just go in your morph target, store morph target. Now I save the state of all the vertices of my model, geometry, clay polish, and with my morph brush, I'm able to make some part less, oops, RGB. You see, I can revert some part to make the transition better between both items. Like that, you can have a kind of in between by using my pressure just to find the good balance. You see, this is very sharp, a little bit too much. But being sharp is not a problem, because again, at this size, it's not so visible, and it will be anyway better with the 3D printing process. Then you see I'm reverting to my original model. See, I want to keep this depth. Like that I can reveal some part while I'm keeping other parts like they are. Okay, save ZBrush, save. Modern Kainer, your question is very interesting. Why some brushes act stronger or weaker based on points count? For example, the smooth brush acts super strong on low resolution models and very weak on high resolution models. You need to consider that some brushes, of course, are, all the brushes are based on the topology of the model. And you have some brushes which are just moving simply the vertices, like the standard brush or the move brush, while some other brushes are using a lot of computing just to work. Like the smooth brush, it's trying to relax all the vertices, and the higher the number they are, the more it need to relax all the vertices based on the location of one vertex based on the other one, and then globally to the model. That's why when you have very few models, it's very fast and easy because you have few points to process, and let's say there is no, not unknown, but doing the average position of each vertex is very easy to do. While you have a lot of vertices, you need to process not 2 or 5 points, but perhaps 100,000, 10,000, 100,000 of vertices at the same time. And you have other brushes like the move brush and move topological brush. Roughly they're doing the same thing. They're moving vertices, but one is analyzing the topology of the model. Then if you're using the move topological brush on a model which have very few polygons, you won't notice the difference between this brush and the regular move brush. But if you are working on a high resolution model, then this move topological brush will need, for each pixel you will move your pen, will need to analyze all the model in terms of range, distance, which is one of the settings in the brush palettes, to analyze where are my vertices, how far I need to go, what is the fall off, etc. Then it's a way more vertices to process. And that's why I'm always insisting on these levels of subdivision. Because of that, I can go up and down in terms of resolution, and then having less vertices to process. This is the same way as these brushes, level of subdivision. If you go in a lower level of subdivision, doing a deformation will be easier because you have less points to process. While at a higher resolution, you need to have more CPU process, more analyzing. And there is some brush in ZBrush which are very basic, but some of those are very, let's say, complex in terms of computation. You also need to keep in mind about the smooth brush, to answer your question a little bit more in details. In the smooth brush modifier, you have the white strength. You can increase this value to give more strength to your brush. And if I remember, I'm not using this brush, but I know Joseph Drost using it a lot in the brush in Lightbox. You have in the smooth section, you have the move stronger here, which is in fact the same smooth brush, but with the white setting push, I think, to the maximum. Then it will smooth way stronger. And don't forget that you have all these brushes for smooth which have different behaviors, like the smooth peak and valleys, which are just smoothing the top of the elevation or the bottom of the elevation of a surface, then the peaks and valleys. You have the smooth directional, the valence and subdivision working not the same way based on the topology, etc. Then that's why it's very important to try also your brushes, but some of them you won't see the behavior if you are not in the configuration, like subdivision levels or the balance. It's when you have vertices, extraordinary points where you have one vertex sharing not 3, 5, 7, 9 points, which are the same way to process. Then look about that. And that's why don't forget to visit ZBrushGuide.com, which is not an official website, but where you have a lot of usages of ZBrush which are explained, and a lot of brushes are using all these advanced settings that most people don't look at, in fact. Sorry, I'm talking a lot as usual. Okay, then let me just do my solo mode like that. And this one, no, I don't want to work with a morph target for that one. That's why don't forget about your morph target as well. It's a great way when you are doing some transformation on a model, like I did with this clay polish. If you want to revert locally or just partially some parts, then store morph target, do your operation like a noise. If you want to apply the surface noise on your model, you apply it, and after with the morph you can revert locally to what you did on another location, which is, for me, I mean, I'm using a lot of this technique. Okay. And for that one, I will use my down soda brush. I will just subdivide a little bit more. I don't like that. Okay, I had the dynamic subdivision on. When you, again, when you feel that your brush are not working the way they should work, always look about this dynamic subdivision. Because I know that I used this dynamic subdivision before, and you see my damp soda brush and even the fall brush, sorry, the cloth brush from Sakaki Kaoru was not working like I was expecting. Then now I understand better. And probably I will use again this this technique of the clay polish and the morph targets. Let me switch to solo mode. Yeah, now I have access to Marvelous Designer. I will try to use it more for the next project. It's a great software. But I'm not convinced for everything for 3D printing and this kind of things. I really need to practice. Okay, now it's time to remove my transparency and trying to refine. All these parts. Because I need to I don't know yet how I'll do my splits, but probably I will keep the top part. I don't know if I will split on this area or not. Oops. I don't know yet. But again, the more you split, the more freedom you have. Oops, why I have two roses like that? Why I have two of them? Which one is the good one? Oh, I think this one is not the good one. This one is a good one. Why? Something I did, sorry, offline, I didn't explain. I don't know if you remember when I did this kind of rose shape. I did the dynamesh of everything, which is a lot of polygons, but it was a way to keep everything. And in fact, I just tried to do a retopology like that. Let me just change. Okay, and what you see right now is the result of the retopology. And as you can notice, let me just change the color. Okay. As you can see, for the retopology, I have some part which just has been welded together at just a single shape, which is not really what it was before. In fact, it was because of dynamesh, and then the retopology increase these results. But when you are looking at something that this size, let me remove the wireframe, you don't notice the difference. Then I prefer working with a mesh which is at 100,000 of polygons, while this one is to millions of polygons, for visually a result which would be close to be the same. You see, so it's not the same location, but between this one and this one, okay, there is almost no difference, and there is no need to keep everything. Let me just delete that one. Okay. If you want to use more mouse buttons inside of ZBrush, if you see my mouse, which is a kind of gaming mouse from Logitech, a G700, that I'm using, of course, to play games times to times, I have something 4, 6, 9, 10 extra buttons, a little bit more than. I don't use it. In fact, I'm using more my G13, which I need to reconfigure because I changed of PC. I don't know if you can see because I don't have enough. And I have a lot of dust on it. I don't know if you see that. Okay. If you want to buy an accessory for games as well, because I'm using that for games, but also for ZBrush, because in ZBrush, if you are a regular user, you're using, of course, a pen tablet and not a mouse, except of course for the Z modeler and your keyboard. And this kind of accessory, in fact, I learned about this accessory. I saw that, I mean, years ago, and this kind of accessory. But it's when I visited Sakaki Kaoru. In fact, I visit him in his workshop in Japan, and he was working the Cintiq, a 21-inch one, an old one, and it was just crazy the way he was working so fast with that. And since then, I just purchased this stuff. It was on, I had a good deal on Amazon, and it's really convenient because you can just program that for your own usage based on the application. Then you can have your own shortcuts for ZBrush, your own shortcuts for other applications, and you see you have all these keys. Yeah, really a bit of dust. All these keys, but you have different modes, and you can switch depending on what you want to do to different modes. I don't do that, but most of the time I have most of my keys here. The only thing which is problematic for this kind of things is if you are using your keyboard to type the letters of the brushes. If you are not, well, it's way enough because you're using that just to call your masking, your visibility, your custom menu. But again, I'm using custom menu, and for me this is way enough, and it's great because you can again customize per application. And then for your mouse, this is the same thing. You just need to install the driver of your mouse. All these mouse have a specific driver where you should be able to set up for one button a hotkey. This is just the only thing you need to do, just assign a hotkey and having the same hotkey inside of ZBrush. Okay. And Jack, yes, everything has been done, of course, in ZBrush. What I saw, okay. Now that one, which will be more the same. You see, I have weird behavior. It's because I have my dynamic subdivision again. That's why I prefer working with my subdivision level so far. Oops. The problem I have is I'm using a lot of the downstandard brush, and when I'm using brushes which are working on the opposite, I'm kinda lost. Let me switch to solo mode. Nope. Let's just try a quick clay polish. I just move all that one. I won't revert. And I know it may be very pinchy, but this is what I did so far for everything that I need to stick to my, let's say, style. And for that one, I need to give more volumes, that it's falling. Come on, save. Yeah, you don't need for your customization of what you want to do with your mouse or your own devices. The only way to work is ZBrush doesn't recognize, let's say, middle click by default of a mouse. It will just recognize what you can already know now is hotkeys, pressing on your keyboard, then shift something or any kind of letter, even letter F1, F2 letters, keys, sorry, F1, F2, F3, etc. You can use all of them. They're assigned by default, but there is some hotkeys that you can reassign to your own need. Then this is the best way to do with your drivers. You assign a letter, and inside of ZBrush, of course, assigning the same letter to what you want to do. And again, more important, sorry, I don't have this custom UI right now. I have just in between. Sorry, but between ZBrush 4.8 P1, at least for me, who is in the development, I'm messing up with my setup a lot because of the development. Then that's why I'm changing of UI and colors and all these kind of things. But you create your own menu, create your own UI. I know that I see online people, okay, your UI is great, please share it with me. No, yes, people can share, you can discover the UI, but first you need to have the same brushes, same alphas, same, let's say, strokes, whatever settings to have the items on the UI. If I'm sharing the UI, my UI with you, if you don't have the Sakaki brushes, the art brushes, some of the material, you will have a lot of empty holes. If you're using script, it will be the same. Then just try to spend the time to build your own UI. And then inside of the UI, something like, again, which is missing, is your own menus. And then with your mouse, with your pen, call your menu with your button. You have by default the right click, but the other button, which is a double click, at least on Wacom tablet, is useless inside of ZBrush. Then use it to call your own menu where you have inside all the most common action that you need. Then just think about that. And yes, I'm using a tablet right now. I'm using a Cintiq 22 HD from Wacom, which is now quite old, but I really enjoy this tablet. I'm using as well a Mobile Studio Pro 16 inches when I'm with my wife in bed and she's reading or watching TV. Then I'm sculpting with ZBrush in the bed. And the companion, the companion from Wacom is a great tablet. The only downside is that you really need to have a keyboard, which is for me the main issue of this tablet. Without keyboard, it would be really complex to use. I may use my full brush for that. I don't know why I insisted to do. Yeah. Now it's way too big. Let me just go back in history. Where I was. Okay, front part. Yes, I want to undo all my levels. But like I said, if you are working a lot with ZBrush, you are spending a lot of time in your let's say creative process, and whatever the software, not only ZBrush. It can be in Photoshop, it can be in other 3D packages, applications. It's really important to set your own no, somehow this is in the other direction, come on, your way of working. Using other artists' workflow. I mean, it's interesting to learn from them, trying to analyze, okay, oh, their UI is great, I can do that, I didn't know I was able to do something like that. Yes, it is good, but you have your way of working. You don't need to stick to someone else's way of working, let's say. At least this is my point of view. You don't need to stick with what I am saying. I don't know if it makes sense what I just tried to explain. Well, it's not my UI is well stole ideas from here and there. You are saying more arcane now. I don't agree. I mean, it's inspiring. If it's working and you find it great, why not? I mean, it's not, let's say, creativity. Of course, stealing ideas from an artist and say, okay, I did it. Yeah, no, of course. But well, a UI, a setup, and things like that, I don't think it's kind of stealing something. At least from my point of view. My damn soda brush. You see, I said my damn soda brush is not mine. This is the one from the great Damien Kanderlich, French artist. Now, if I'm trying to do my clay polish like before, it may not work as I would love to, because this is a Dynamesh and not a ZRemesher. And my topology is not that good. What I will do for this one, for sure, I will store a morph target. You see, my workflow is almost always the same. Okay, and now my morph brush, sorry, and I revert all this part. which need to be a little bit more fluffy, let's say. And then I will just slightly revert and now with my move brush I will just slightly change all of that. And I will try to stick inside because I will need to connect everything later, and I will try to stick like that. Oops. What time is it? Yeah. And again, if I want to see how will be the cut, means just everything for that, I need to perhaps move that down. Sorry, sorry, I have no way to stop when I see some stuff like that I need to change. And I forgot what I wanted to say to do. Ah yes, I wanted to add a cube and checking how it was inside. I think I need to move the arm inside. But keeping the arm makes me forced to understand what is behind, and I know that my shoulder is not good. You remember I showed that just before. Come on, Alt click. Okay. And now, like I said, subtool, and if I put just at the end insert cube, let's go down. Oh, let me save first. You can try to use the crazy gizmo from Joseph. Yes, of course. Okay, then this one I put that in negative. I enable live Boolean, and I see now my model. I switch to gizmo. Nope. That one. Okay. And you see now I'm able to see, okay, at when it's starting. Don't look at all this small artifact like that, it's just real-time display stuff. Then it starts to grow, and my arm. Then I will do a kind of Boolean negative stuff of the front arm for everything. And you see what I will need to fix later is all these kind of small holes I have around. I need to fill everything to be just a kind of volume, and after, if I want to hollow everything, of course I will do the hollowing, but I need to have at this stage only plain volume like it is like that. And if I want to fix, you see, let's say for the arm, what I will do is I will select my character. I can go back in a lower resolution, I don't need to have so many polygons. And with my move brush, why I can't do it? Why my move brush is not working? What I'm doing? Why my brush are not working? What did I do? The add, focus shift, intensity. If I select this part, it's working, and the body, it doesn't work. Why? What did I do? Okay, I had an invisible mask, I don't know why. Okay, live Boolean. And like I said, you are picking your move brush and you are just doing that slightly just to adapt to what you have. And by doing so, I'm closing the holes. Let me just bring that more on the top. Okay, just below, and the clothes, yeah. Then if I move that up and down, yeah, it should be just below. This is annoying too. I need to fix everything, that's why it's because if you keep all these holes together, it will be an issue. Because when you will do your 3D printing process, you will have what we call suction cups inside of your model, and it will bring a lot of issues. Rows, let me put that up. This is the left one, I don't need it. So I'm trying to put that as close as possible to my model just to avoid going up and down. The apron can be down. And the nut as well. The legs can be down as well. Okay, then if I'm moving up my cube, you see like that, then you need to go from each levels one by one and filling your shape. Okay, and then again and again. This is kind of annoying, but it's so convenient to fix your issues like that without leaving ZBrush. While before, this is all the stuff that you were discovering when going to another software like Preform and fixing just to do this kind of holes. Of course, another solution which will be faster will be, you see, then I need to take care about this bottom part. Another trick, let me just hide that, is to save the project, please. Let me isolate, and I don't know if it's a trick will work. Let me change that. Let me go to solo mode. I will try something, because you see my model is just a single polygroup, and it's difficult to have a polygroup different from what is inside and what is outside. What I want is I want to increase the size of the internal part without editing the outside part. And what I will do, I will try to do something. I don't know if it will work or not, but I will go in my morph target menu. I delete the current one, I store a new one, which is a different current shape. And now I will go in my deformation palette, and I will inflate, you see, inside, which is way too much. Oh my god. But now, if I'm using my morph brush, this is something, this is the first time I'm doing that. But you see, I can revert to my model, which should be the outside part. I just need to take care about, let me just do something else. And brush auto masking, I will put the back face masking, perhaps just removing a little bit the intensity. But like that, I shouldn't take what is inside. Let me hide that. What you see, this kind of stretch are because of the back face masking. Okay, let's do that quickly. I don't know if you understand what I'm doing. But it's faster to do this kind of dirty trick than trying to select inside, finding the best settings for some brushes. For the top part, I will remove the back face masking anyway. I hope it will work. Then I'm not doing something useless. Then I should still have something inside, and what I will do after, I will update the Dynamesh, because this is just a Dynamesh. Then everything which is inside, just intersecting, should be just a single shape without topological issues. I really hope. You see, I'm able to bring back what was saved in the morph target, and because I have this backface masking, I should be able to avoid editing what is inside. There is some visual artifacts that I don't understand on some location. You see this kind of rounded area here below. I don't know if it's based on the backface masking or not. Okay, I'm just trying to finish that, and for the last part I remove the backface masking and everything should be okay. Then brush, backface masking, let me remove it. I don't know why it's stored like that, and then with that I can revert everything. And I hope the Dynamesh won't break. But the inside part should be pretty okay. Then let me just check that everything is fine. And now if I Dynamesh that geometry, Dynamesh, where are you, Dynamesh? I don't know if the resolution will be enough or not. Okay, no, I don't want to do morph target. You see inside is just a kind of big part. Then I guess if it will intersect with my cube, then let me just remove the solo mode and bring back this cube in the subtool list. What is happening? You see? Oops. Okay, I'm not moving the good subtool. Okay, then at this stage I have a small area, but you see I have less part that I need to fix now. Of course I won't do everything now because it's very useless to repeat again and again the same steps, but just to make you understand that it's important to fill everything, and if I need to hollow my model I will do it then later, but not doing this kind of things will be problematic after for the 3D printing process. Okay, then now did I do too many undos? I hope not. Well, if you have a small hole, it's not that so important, but it's better to fix these kind of things. And for people doing 3D printing, command. The live Boolean is so convenient. I have small holes like that. Well, I will deal with that later. Okay, anyway, let me just hide this cube, remove live Boolean. Why I have this part? Let me delete it. Okay. Need to do a little bit on that one as well. Let me switch to solo mode and same techniques. Well, it should be okay. I already started before then. Oh, I wanted also to add as well. I think I did this clay polish on that one. I don't remember. My down soda brush. And with this kind of, let's say, marks, it's not that important, but it will visually start to split your model. Okay, and for that one I will do the same. I will try to fill everything with a mesh. Then, like before, morph target, store morph target, geometry, clay polish, twice, morph brush, you want Tiger Crush, I don't really understand what where you want to go with that. Or perhaps I don't understand what you mean. Ah, okay, I understand. Yes, you can inside you can of course put some kind of, you said sausage, a kind of, yeah, a tube of clay and filling the hole. Of course, yes, it can be these kind of things. I mean, whatever. The only thing is I want to have a volume at the end. Then the process of the Boolean will be just to combine everything as a volume, and then when it will be done, I will be able to use a negative shape to hollow everything. But I want to have the control of the hollowing part and the splitting. Yeah, I will do just now what you just asked as a question, just to show. But you're right. I mean, there is always multiple solutions. Okay, then about these parts, let me just refine first. Okay, the part to be short will be outside. Yeah, I have this kind of stretching because my focal shift is too big, and because I'm working with Dynamesh and a lot of polygons, that's why I have these marks, rounded shapes, circular shapes when I'm trying to doing my deformations. Okay, then for that one, let me just be closer to the arm. Okay, then just to answer to explain what you just asked. Yeah, you just asked as a question. Okay, let me just change all of that. Sorry, I need just to be sure that I don't do too much deformation and miss something. Okay, then if I want to fill everything, just without considering the arm by itself, what I can do is, in fact, I can do even better. If I want to do the whole character and be sure everything is close together, I can build just a Z-sphere skeleton inside of the model, and after just trying to deform to fit roughly the outside part, and it should work. Then now for then this part, let's say I want to fill everything for that part, then I will, as subtools, I can hide, let me just even hide the body. I just want to keep this one and that one. Okay, and I want to fill everything. Let me just bring the cube as a Boolean operator like before, and I will rotate like that. Okay, not okay. Need to rotate it a bit more that way. Okay, then I will hide it, and what I can do is just picking, I don't know, it needs to be a Dynamesh, this one is okay. I can pick draw, I can use my curve tube. Like that, I have just a simple tube which I can refine, but you see when you start to refine, I don't care in fact. Then what I will do, I will just split that as a different subtool. Then I will go in my split section, split unmasked points, and now I have a different subtool, this subtool. And with my gizmo, I can just go inside. I can put my transparency mode that way. Draw, move. Then you can already start to, you see, fill. I don't care about the topology. Eventually, perhaps I will do, oops, sorry, a Dynamesh. And that's why it's important to work always with volume. When you're doing 3D printing, you are working with volumes, not surfaces. Even if you want to have a surface, it will be a thin surface. And what I will do now will be to update that as a Dynamesh. Geometry, Dynamesh, where are you? Too high for the resolution. For what? Ah, come on, save. Then, okay. Yeah, you see, any kind of shape will be okay. Then let me just go inside. Okay, it should be roughly inside. I Dynamesh everything, then subtools, live Boolean mode, remove the transparency, and if I display my cube, which is around here, we see all these intersections, but again I need to go inside of the model, but without going too much outside. Then you may want to, you see, to sculpt like this, but I need to be very careful about not going outside like it is here. That's why sometimes switching between the deformation brush will be perhaps easier. That's why doing kind of internal thickness anyway will keep the outside eventually, not the inside. But also having different polygroups will be interesting. And I think what do you see by polygroup color to see what's passing through? I'm not very sure. I could do a kind of polygroup front, or using different polygroups to oops, why? Oh, sorry. To work with visible stuff, but it may be tricky to do. Yes, we don't have at least to my knowledge, we don't have a kind of polygroups just outside, not inside. But again, we know what is inside, what is outside. The software may not know what is inside and what is outside. You can't imagine people asking us, yeah, but it should be easy to do something like that. Why I say that? Because even myself, sometimes I say to the developer, it should be easy to do that. And most of the time the answer is no, it's not that visible, because you have eyes, then we understand what is the shape, but ZBrush or any kind of software, they don't have eyes. Then what is an evidence for us, maybe not for the software. That's why doing this kind of mesh extract to do part of the model, like I did here, if I remember, is not good, because you are working with a volume, but a volume with a thickness. Then after, you need to deal with your mess. You see, all these kind of things, it's not that good. It could be worse, but need to be fixed. And sometimes you see it go outside a little bit, and of course you are spending too much time on this kind of stuff, which are not creativity, but let's say very technical things. And so far you see I did just a part of the arm, but I need to look about the other part, which is here and which is far to be done. And I will rotate to the other side. -90 degrees. And you see all this stuff need to be fixed. Then of course it's a problem. Oh, let me just move down my cube. And this one is not a problem because it's a volume, while this one is just a volume with already an opening inside. Then all the top parts, I don't need to deal with that. While this one, it's a lot of steps, and what you can call annoying steps. Anyway, I won't deal with that now because it's always the same thing, but at least it makes you understand what you need to consider when you are creating for 3D printing. Then doing these kind of things, and I think someone say, oh, why not using a mesh extract to do that? And say, yes, great. And I mean, it has been my mistake about not saying, okay, no, it's wrong, because it's not a global volume, but just a thickness on top of an existing volume, which was the arm. Then always be careful about all these kind of things. And I think I will do the internal inflate that I did before. Then I will just delete that one. Oh well, I will keep it for now, but live Boolean, let me remove my cube. But you see, doing this kind of small cube and small process is, let's say, easy at least to check your model, because you will see in I don't know, this fill voids function, I need to look at that, but the problem is this is a void because I'm doing a Boolean operation at this stage. But this is a regular, let's say, volume, and yes, for the interaction, yeah. I need to see with the developers. Anyway, about the polygroup colors to see and the model. No, it's the problem in fact is when, not a problem, but there is a restriction with the live Boolean. When you are enabling the live Boolean, let me do something with the let's say the broom. Okay, for that one. I'm in live Boolean, and like before, I will insert just a cube. This cube will be negative, and I will move it up, increase the scale, and okay, now I'm in live Boolean mode. And yes, you say the problem is it could be helpful to have the polygroups and just to see which model it is. First thing is you always see the polygroup of the selected model right now, which is my cube, not the mesh below. Then when I'm manipulating my cube, at least I won't be able to see the polygroups. Then let me just display the wireframe transparency. Okay, then okay, I can see a kind of preview this stage. Now I want to work on the group. But when you are working with polygroup and live Boolean, you see that you have your model and the wireframe visible and everything on top with the transparency. You have no way to display only the result of the live Boolean operation and the polygroups which are not affected by the live Boolean. I mean, just the bottom part and not the top part. This is a restriction of the real-time live Boolean. The same as masking. If you apply some mask, it won't be visible. And if you display the transparency, you see, you don't see the live Boolean. Then the live Boolean is working only when you are with your regular display settings. Then it's a restriction. I'm sorry for that. In terms, Doug, hello. In terms of method, you prefer duplicating the mesh and scale it down to make a core cut. Yes, you need to do some cleanup. There is multiple ways, and I think the one just to select in the internal part and scaling down is great, but it will work in a nice way only if it's a dynamesh. I mean, a clean volume. The problem is as soon as you are scaling down stuff or even doing a kind of inflate like I did for the other arm, if it's not a dynamesh, you have a lot of intersections, and as you may know, Boolean operation hate in self-intersections. Of course, inside of ZBrush, you have cleaning tools that you don't see, but which is processing your model and trying to clean as much as possible the model about all these kind of small mistakes, vertices which are not connected, non-coplanar faces, all these kind of things. But the more error you give as an input, the more risk you have. You risk to have a failed Boolean operation. We have, to be honest, a very strong cleaning process, but it can't solve everything. Then the more Boolean objects you're processing together, the more it will be problematic. In fact, this kind of sausage stuff I did before for the arm inside here is probably one of the cleanest solution, especially if it's a dynamesh. But the best way would be to avoid working with this, let's say, not fake thickness, fake volume, but these thickness are not good just because of that. Then it would be better just to have a kind of closed shape, to close, in fact, removing the polygon inside and closing everything, which would be, in fact, not that difficult, I think. I need to think about that. But definitely, the mesh extract and the thickness are great for this floating stuff, but for this close around mesh extract is definitely not the option. I mean, it's an option not for the 3D printing process. Okay. So far, I need to move. Sorry, I'm looking about other parts. I need to make that more straight. You need to have some tensions that it doesn't look to have. I need to fix all these kind of small problems, let's say, of intersection, because what I will need to do later is come on, I'll click. I will need to prepare everything, and for the next time it will be, again, I will try to finish all these kind of folds and small details. I need to refine that, refining the arms, the hands, sorry. Need to work a little bit on the shoes as well, refining the pose, but next time will be really the preparation for 3D printing. We really need to be this next step, and I will need to finish everything for the next time. And I may prepare some part, like the pod by itself will be a separate model. I will prepare some part which need to be cut because there is no complex items for that. Sorry, I need to fix this kind of things because I hate looking at that. Yeah, I don't know what. I think it was just yeah. It was a mask, definitely a mask. Well, I'll clean that later, it's not a big deal at all. And I guess it is the same on the other side. Okay, anyway. Yes. Okay. Then, like I said, I will try to fix as much as possible later offline all these small details, refining some parts, like I said, the hands, and preparing the slides, because I really need to move forward. I have 1 week after the next session to print and prepare everything. It's a lot of stuff to print. I may have some failure during the printing process. Then next time I will just cut some part to show you the process, not everything. I will prepare some other parts, and we should spend a little bit of time in the cleaning process outside of ZBrush just to fix some issues with the booleans and resulting for the printing. And we spend a little bit of time in preform about the mesh orientation, the scaling, and of course working with 3D Print Hub for exporting the model. But at least on my side, all the sculpting modeling should be done for the next time. Let me see what you wrote. Yeah, it's working with Boolean is very powerful, but you need to be very careful. In fact, with ZBrush, you have a lot of tools like Dynamesh, where you don't care about the topology. It's not a big deal. It's okay, you can mess up with your topology. At the time you update, okay, it's clean. You can work visually, you can use insert meshes, all these kind of things. It's very visual, and you don't care about the topology as soon as, at least as you stay inside of ZBrush. But for the Boolean, this is a tool which needs and require a lot of accuracy. I mean, clean meshes as much as possible as an input. You need to avoid between Boolean operation a lot of variations in terms of density of your model. If you have a model which have a big model with just few polygons and a small one with millions of polygons, and on top of that you put a dynamic subdivision, all these kind of things, you can end up with failure in terms of Boolean process, just because it's how can I say that? You have some threshold during the process and all these kind of tools, and if you have too much variation, it won't fit the threshold, and then you will have missing polygons and all these kind of things. To be honest, I don't say the algorithm won't fail or whatever, but most of the time, at least internally as beta testers, most of the failure was because of coplanar faces or because the topology was just a mess. Of course, sometimes there is some issues, I won't say the opposite, but 99.9% of the time this is because of coplanar faces most of the time, or these degenerated polygons and things like that, or because there is surfaces and not volumes, and of course ZBrush will close the surfaces to build a volume, but when you have just a planar surface, you can't build a volume on that, then it will fail. Then I will try to explain more of that, of course, in detail. So next time I will try to fill the holes. I may do some test prints, at least the broom head and some parts, just to see, and especially the thickness of the floating parts, if it won't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue for the scale, but I will start to print that, and I need to consider as well some parts which are on top and how I will assemble everything. Then I have a lot of thoughts to do that. And the last one, which is for me tricky, I can't wrap my head around that, is, you see, for the robot, the pod here, I want to have an articulation around for the bottom part. The problem is I have this part which is static. Then I don't know if I will do just 2 circles around and trying to rotate around that, but because of that just below, I'm not very sure. Then perhaps I will move on the side, I don't know yet. Then this is a kind of tricky part, but I should find a solution. Just because of that, I don't know, this one is easy but not that one, then I don't know yet. Perhaps I will just do a kind of rotation in 2 parts with just a little bit of angle in between, I don't know yet. Anyway, where did I get this RS Clay Extend Madcap? This one, I don't remember exactly. If I'm not wrong, this one is from a set, these 2 RS, and I really love these madcaps. This one, in fact, is, I love it for organic stuff, but it makes things most of the time more beautiful as it is in reality. These 2 materials are great, but this one, I really love that one, but sometimes it makes you think, okay, my model is great, while switching to the material, okay, no, it sucks. That's why I'm always switching between different madcaps just to see the result, even, you see, the flat one that I'm using. Okay, Skin Shade 4 is great because it really see your model without being making it look too nice. I need to work a bit on the legs as well. That's why it's always switch between them. And then to answer your question, I think it was part of a pack of material which has been on, which is available at Gnomon Workshop, or I don't know which one, if it was Gnomon Workshop or the Gnomon School. You have, of course, you can purchase the DVDs and training, and it was a pack of material to purchase. Of course, as Pixologic, I've been able to have access to it, but I think it's few bucks to buy this material. And there is more RS. Let me check. I just load few of them. You see, I have this lava, all this one, which are, you see, really nice material, nice madcaps. You see. You see, this one are great. I really love these madcaps. Lava, not that much, to be honest, but this gray and red, I really love them to work with because you have some cavities, and it's great. Okay. Anyway, that's all for today. Then thank you again to have spent some time with me. It hasn't been as quick as I would love to be, but you know, when you start to deal with details, it takes way much time. Then I see you next week, not Saturday. It will be not Sunday, it will be Saturday next week, if I remember, because I'm not available, of course, on Sunday. Then yes, I have not a lot of time then. Okay, I'll move forward. Anyway, thank you very much. Please connect to ZBrushLIVE as much as you can. This is the best way to learn from the artists. You see, we have new artists who join ZBrushLIVE. We'll have more and more over the time. Don't forget to try ZBrush if you don't use ZBrush. If you already are using ZBrush, switch to 4R8. You will see it's a fantastic update of ZBrush. And anyway, see you later. Bye bye. Thank you.